Hi everybody, on the road today. What better time to do another edition of Pastor Shane Explains, and today we're going to tackle the question of how do you know that there is a God? How do you know that God exists? It's an excellent question. It's one that I've been asked many a time over the years, both by people who don't believe that there is a God and by people that do believe, but maybe as they grow older, maybe as they head towards the end of high school or head towards college or whatever, they start to think, well, you know what, I know I believe in God, but I need some solid reasons, maybe for themselves or maybe to share with a friend. So whether you're someone who doesn't believe in God or someone who does, I hope that the reasons I can give you here will be persuasive. Now, given the time that I have here, only a little bit of time, this is probably going to be part one of a part two or part three or four-part series, whatever it ends up being. As those are made, I'll put it in the description below. You can click on those and continue to hear some of these reasons. But for today, just two reasons why I believe there is a God. Reason number one, there is something rather than nothing. There is something rather than nothing. Now, that may not sound very persuasive, so let me fill in some of the gaps here. Take a look around you, wherever you're sitting right now. Maybe you're holding your phone, maybe you're on your computer, day, night, whatever. If there's a window nearby, look out the window. Okay, what do you see? You see stuff, right? If you're in the city, you see delivery trucks, you see people, you see cars, you hear horns honking, whatever. If you're in the country, maybe you hear birds singing, wind blowing through the grass. There is something out there rather than nothing. Now, where did those somethings come from? For instance, let's say that there's a puppy walking by outside your window, right? Where'd that puppy come from? Well, puppy obviously had a mother, right? And so that puppy came from its mom, right? Well, where did that mom come from? Well, it had a mother too, right? And where did that mother's come from? Well, it came from another mother dog, right? It was a puppy at one point. It had a mom. And you go further back and further back and further back until some point there must have been like a first puppy, right? Well, you can do this with most anything. I'm driving right now. There's a sign up here, a signpost telling me about the next town coming ahead. It's made out of steel. Where'd the steel come from? Well, somebody dug it out of the ground. How did it get in the ground? Some people say, I don't know. Some people say, well, it came from an asteroid, from outer space. Well, where did the asteroid come from? You see, everything that we know of by science today has a cause. You can't get something from nothing, right? Not just obvious. Everybody knows it. Scientists know it too. And so this has puzzled them. They say, well, where did all these somethings come from? Today, many scientists, and I don't know that I agree completely, but I can see part of their point. Many scientists refer to something called the Big Bang. Everything in the universe, everything that we know had a cause, and at one point, there was this point where everything was all together in one point in space, somewhere out there, we don't know where. They call it a singularity. One point in time, way back at the very, very beginning, infinitely small, everything crammed into this one dot, and they ran into the same problem. You see, someone had to light the fuse on the Big Bang, because we know that something can't come from nothing. And so even in that worldview, that there was a Big Bang and that there was a time when there was this infinitely small thing, it had to come from somewhere. Someone or something had to start the Big Bang. I think that someone, first of all, was a someone, and that it was God. Now, you might be wondering, well, why would you say that it was a someone rather than a something? Maybe there's something that we don't understand in science, outside of science or whatever. Well, that takes quite a bit of faith, and but the reason why I believe that it was a someone rather than a something is because of the second reason I believe that there is a God. I look at things around me. That's reason number one. I see that there's something rather than nothing, and everything has a cause. So there must have been a first cause, something out there. I believe it was a someone because of reason number two, design. Design. You say, what's that about? Well, let me give you an example here. Let's imagine wherever you're sitting right now that I appeared beside you, not virtually, but in reality. And I had a paper bag with me, and I told you this. I said, for the last 10 years, I have done something with this paper bag, and I want to show you the result of what I've done right here today. 10 years ago, I would tell you, I put in this paper bag a chunk of plastic, I put some copper solder. I put in a battery. I put in a piece of glass in there, just kind of rough hewn that I picked up on the beach. And I put it together every morning for the last 10 years. I picked up the bag and I've shaken it, okay? And today I'm going to show you the results of me shaking this bag once a day for every 10 years. And I open it up and there's the latest, greatest iPhone. And I pick out that iPhone and I hold it up to you and I say, see what happened the last 10 years? Okay, what would you say? Okay, you would look at me and you would say, you're an idiot. Because everybody knows that you can't just put stuff, raw materials in a paper bag and shake it and come out with an iPhone 10 years later. Or 100 years later, or 1,000 years later, or even 1,000,000 years later, right? Now, this is a rather simplistic illustration, and I know that if there's a scientist watching this or listening right now, they say, oh, hold on, Pastor Shane, it's a little more complicated than that. I get it. But the fact of the matter is that generally speaking, in fact, it's intuitive, and in the scientific laboratory, we accept the fact that a design, when we see a design, something designed, we must assume that there is a designer. Well, look at life around us. In spite of all the troubles in the world, the fact of the matter is that life on this planet requires very fine tuning just to exist in the first place. In fact, even secular scientists who have no belief in God, run smack up to this, and it can be very frustrating for them. They will tell you this. The odds of life happening by chance are incredibly high against it happening by chance. In fact, many scientists have pointed out that if the universe were just a little bit warmer or a little bit colder, just a tiny little bit, life could never have developed. They say life on this planet, if the percentages of oxygen and nitrogen and other elements in our atmosphere were just the slightest bit different, the ratio amongst them was just the slightest bit different, life could never have developed as we know it today. In fact, some scientists have even taken the challenge and they've tried to figure out what are the odds of life as we know it today coming about by chance. You know what they say? They say that the odds of it happening by chance are essentially the same as zero. In other words, it couldn't have happened. If I can put it this way, this isn't exactly right, but I think you'll get the point. It takes more faith to believe that life came about by chance than it does to believe that there was an almighty being, a creator, that started it by design. The fact that there is something rather than nothing, and the fact that those things that we see very much bear the marks of a designer, to me are two powerful arguments for believing that there is a God rather than that there is no God. We'll get to more reasons later on, but these two are the ones I'll leave you with for the moment. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time on Pastor Shane Explains.